Welcome everybody to the first ever On the Run live from a casino floor. See you after the plane. Well, hello everybody, and this is a very special On the Run live from a casino floor. Yes, you'll never guess where I am. I am in Vanuatu, and this right here is the very special Jewel Casino in Vanuatu. Not many casinos in Vanuatu, just 3 or 4. They're pretty small, but they asked me to come out here and do a little stuff, which I've done. And yeah, we're shooting On the Run in the casino floor. They've given me permission to do so. So that's a little bit of fun to have a casino in the background. That is great. So let us get into the news of the week. So first of all, as I usually say, greetings from where I am. So greetings from Vanuatu. And we're going to start off with the news from Macau, as we usually do. But you know what? We're going to start with IAG announcing 67 judges for the IAG Academy IR Awards. In fact, we're up to 84 judges now. And so maybe we'll crack 100. This is the event that we're doing as part of our Super September on September 12, 13, 14. September 12 will of course be MAD at the Grand Bar and Lounge at Newport World Resorts. September 13 and 14 will be the very first ever IAG Academy Summit. And on the evening of September 13 we'll have the very first IAG Academy IR Awards, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're really looking forward to it. Macau announced post-pandemic high. The July, excuse me, still a little bit sick. The July GGR was 16.7 billion MOP, so it cracked 2 billion US dollars, which is absolutely fantastic. 2.1 billion, in fact, US dollars, up 9.6% month on month. Compare that with $3 billion in July 2019, if we were to compare to 2019 numbers, so a little over 2/3. And right now I have my drink arriving. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Cheers. Nice little sneaky gin and tonic in the casino. Very strong mass, of course. We all know what's happened to VIP in Macau, so it's all about the mass. And you know, if you were to look back at my Macau Has Fallen story in August last year, 12 months ago now, I said that there were 2 things that were killing Macau. One was the COVID-0 policy, excuse me, and the other was China's attitude towards Macau and the difficulties that mainland China was presenting to Macau. Well, both of those things have disappeared, but so has VIP, and mass has come back very, very strongly indeed. In fact, in a recent interview with IAG, Professor Zhonglu Jing of the Macau Polytechnic University, not the Macau Polytechnic Institute, but now the Macau Polytechnic University, I said that 190 billion MOP for the year was a reasonable goal. So 190, what's that in US dollars? Well, it's 200 minus 10, 200 is 150.25, that's 1.25, so it's 23.75 billion US dollars. Let's call that 24 billion between friends. So he's predicting 24 billion is a reasonable goal for the year. MGM China came out with their results this week just gone. The EBITDAR, with an R on the end, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization and rent, in fact exceeded 2019 levels, as did the revenue. So the additional approximately 150 gaming tables that MGM is running at the moment, they were awarded 198 extra tables from 1st of January, the only one of the 6 concessionaires to be awarded extra tables. But only about 150 of those are in operation at the moment, with the remainder said to be coming in or will be deployed in the coming months. The net revenue was 741 million US dollars. The adjusted property EBITDAR was 209 million US dollars. So congratulations to MGM China. They've taken some market share from the others. They've got additional tables and they are doing very, very well indeed. Still with MGM China, in the earnings call, we had some interesting comments from the President and COO Hubert Wang and the co-chairman, I think he is, Bill Hornbuckle, obviously the former based here in Macau and the latter based in Las Vegas, representing MGM International, MGM Resorts. They said that they are going to capitalise on the recent market share gains in Macau, and that they will double their international sales team headcount, which is a really big increase. So they are looking to pump up their international sales. And we had Bill Hornbuckle saying about he highlighted the marketing team's efforts and mentioned the demise of junkets. And he said that we've seen the MGM network go to work on expanding the network and trying to get more overseas play. Hubert Wang mentioned it was time now for capital allocation, so they're obviously deploying CapEx. And he also mentioned that the July results were very strong and very robust and showed, quote unquote, continued improvement on a lot of KPIs versus the second quarter. So even stronger, Q3 could be even stronger than Q2. Congratulations to MGM. Melco also announced their results in the week just gone, edging closer to a bottom line net profit. Their Q2 net loss was only 23.4 million, quite a small number compared to last year's 251.5 million, and even compared to last quarter's, that's Q1's 81.3 million. Almost entirely due to the Macau recovery is the improvement in the figures, almost entirely due to that. The revenue was nearly $1 billion, 947.9 million, and the adjusted EBITDA was 267.3 million. So congratulations to Melco. Things getting much better for them, and they're nearly down to a bottom line profit. Absolute bottom line. Of course, you can't compare net income, bottom line net income, with adjusted EBITDA that we had in the last two stories, Melco and MGM. Also, sticking with Melco, Lawrence Ho, the chairman and CEO of Melco, mentioned that the company is renegotiating with the Macau government in relation to the non-gaming commitments that they made prior to the concessions, the new concessions from 1st of January. He said there are, quote unquote, a lot of negotiations continuing with the Macau government over their monthly reporting, quarterly reporting. Said there's a lot of negotiation discussion around what they're planning to do. And that sort of implies to me that the commitments that were made prior to January 1 have some level of flexibility around them, although he was at pains to point out that the total amount of money that's committed, which was 11.8 billion MOP by Melco, remains unchanged. Cheers. Next story, 9 new hotels underway in Macau. The 9 new hotels have a combined 3,732 rooms. And this is as at the end of Q2, that was the number. The Macau Land and Urban Construction Bureau gave those numbers. They said that there were 8 more hotels already underway in terms of design, not in construction yet, but being designed. And of the 9 that are under construction, 2 are believed to be in Cotai, or 2 are said to be in Cotai, and I think it was 7 on Macau side, obviously. So the 2 in Cotai, we think refers to Galaxy Phase 4 and the W Hotel in Macau Studio City. When Galaxy Phase 4 opens, which is, it's huge, it's 5 towers there, that will take Galaxy from a current 6,000 rooms to 7,500 rooms. So clearly the number 2 in Macau in room inventory after Sands, which has some 13,000 rooms. Next story, still in Macau. In the first half of 2023, only 3.8% of hotel guests were foreigners. These are numbers that DSEC, the Department of the Statistics Department, basically in Macau, came out with. 72% from mainland China, and of course it's taking time for flights to settle down post-COVID and to return, so the number of so-called foreigners coming to Macau is still relatively low. Finally, over to the Philippines now, and PH Resorts, our friends over there at PH Resorts, they claim that they are in late stage talks with investors Now this is all about the Emerald Bay Hotel, the Emerald Bay IR. They want to resume work on that. Of course, Solaire was talking to PH Resorts about taking that over, but those talks fell through in March, as reported on IAG. And that property is expected to be 146 tables, 729 slots. I think it's 785 keys, 785 hotel rooms. So Dennis, who is Udena Group, is the ones behind this. PH Resorts is their hospitality arm. Their shareholders actually recently approved an increase in capital from 8 billion to 15 billion in shares, authorized shares. That gives them the ability to raise 128 million US dollars. So good luck to them, and let's see if we can finally see a second integrated resort open in Cebu. The first one, of course, being New Star, the Robinson's group. Padcor's been super active. They introduced a new sort of POGO, well, they didn't even say POGO, they said offshore gaming regulatory framework. They're putting greater focus on evaluating the UBOs, the ultimate beneficial owners of POGOs. All existing POGO licenses have been put on probation, and everybody has to apply for their jobs again. And so that will be very, very interesting indeed. They're cracking down on the POGOs quite hard. They want to improve the image of the offshore gaming industry in the Philippines because it has been damaging the reputation of that country. Still with Padcor, excuse me, still with Padcor, they granted 2.2 million US dollars to the Vice President's office just a day or two ago. The Vice President of the Philippines is, of course, Sara Duterte, the daughter of the previous president, President Duterte, and Chairman Tengo, the chairman of the Padcor, signed a memorandum of agreement to give 120 million peso, which is about 2.2 million US, to settle hospital bills, buy medicine, undergo medical treatments for poor people in the Philippines. So that is fulfilling Padcor's remit to support the country and to do various forms of nation building. Down to Australia now, and Crown rolled out its Play Safe program. This is a new responsible gaming program that they have launched. The idea is to focus on prevention rather than cure. So the idea is to minimise harm before it becomes harm rather than to address harm that is already happening. It replaces their old responsible gaming program and involves, let's see, mandatory card of play, mandatory pre-commitment, excuse me again, marketing guardrails, training improvements, guest education, and a range of other research and data monitoring. And basically they're going to test a lot of harm reduction ideas and put quite a bit of effort into trying to stop problem gambling before it begins. Now over to India. Delta Corp has postponed its IPO for its online gaming arm. So Delta Corp is the largest casino company in India, and its online gaming arm, which is responsible for approximately 15% of its revenue. Jaidev Modi, the boss of Delta Corp, was planning to IPO that. But the problem is there's a lot of uncertainty now around this tax. The GST Council in India has imposed this 28% tax on gambling. It includes horse racing, casinos, and online gaming, and that has now put a big question mark around this IPO, and they have, excuse me again, they have stopped the IPO. Now to Japan and Sega Sammy in supplier news. Well, part supplier, part operator. Sega Sammy, of course, has 45% of the joint venture for Paradise IR at Incheon in Korea, along with Paradise Co itself, but also is known as a pachinko manufacturer. Their profits up 446% year on year to 121 million in the second quarter of 2023. Their revenue was 757 million, and that's all on higher pachinko sales and better IR results post-COVID. Still kind of with Japan, or still definitely with Japan, 2025 Osaka Expo could be postponed. This is so indicative of what goes on in Japan. What's happened here is the construction workers, there's a law in Japan that limits the amount of overtime that they can do, and there's a request being put in to lift that cap on overtime hours because they don't think they're going to make all the construction in time. In fact, a lot of foreign exhibitors are holding back on whether they're going to take part in the Osaka Expo. Now, why is this important to the gaming industry? Well, it's going to be on Yumeshima Island where the MGM property is going to be, and at one stage there was quite a bit of tying between the casino and the expo. So the governor, Hirofumi Yoshimura, the governor of Osaka Prefecture, said, quote unquote, a sense of urgency is needed. Well, he's damn right there. There never seems to be a sense of urgency in Japan. And MGM's patience over there needs to be applauded. The problem they have is the number of construction workers is dropping. They had 6.9 million construction workers in Japan in 1997. Now they've only got 4.9. Well, in 2021 they had 4.9, and a quarter of them are over 60 years old. Only 12% are in their 20s. So the aging population is a problem when it comes to construction in Japan. Now in very interesting news, in trade show news, ICE, the famous trade show originally called the International Casino Exhibition. Most people don't know that's what ICE stands for, but now primarily an online gaming trade show in London, the biggest gaming trade show in the world, is going to move from London after decades and decades in London. I couldn't tell you how many years. It will not be moving next year. It will still be in London in 2024, but in 2025 it will be moving to Barcelona in Spain, which is super interesting. And for the team at IAG always goes to ICE, so it'll be nice to go to Barcelona rather than London. This was a huge decision. Primarily ICE said, or Clarion Gaming that runs ICE, says it was customer driven. It was a 6-month detailed consultative process with a special board appointed to do this. The initial contract is going to be 5 years through to 2029. It will be at the Fira de Barcelona premises from the 20th to the 22nd of January 2025. So normally in February, ICE, normally around February 6, 7, 8, something like that. So they're going to do it a bit earlier in Barcelona. And look, they said it was a complex process involving more than 30 variables, lots of consultation, huge decision to move it from London to Barcelona. But the decision has been made, and that is where it will be for 5 years from 2025. So that is a very interesting change for the industry. Still in supplier news, IGT, I say supplier news because a lot of suppliers exhibit at ICE. IGT has raised its outlook for the 2023 financial year. It says it's going very well. It sees strong gains in the June quarter, and its global gaming and play digital segments are going very, very well. Consolidated revenue in Q2 grew by 3% year on year, but actually in those two segments it grew more because it lost in the lottery segment. Cheers. Yeah, they had a 13% increase in global gaming revenue. So that's revenue from slots basically, and other systems as well. And their play digital increased 38%. Of course, online gaming, we all know it. It's going gangbusters. So congratulations to IGT. It looks like they're going to have a very good year. Last story, Steve Wynn, yes, you may have heard of him, has settled with the Nevada Gaming Commission and has paid them $10 million and agreed to never be involved in the gaming industry ever again. So it is farewell to Steve Wynn. He is no longer allowed to be an operator. He's no longer allowed to control, have authority, have an advisory role, or any decision-making role in any operator. He is allowed to have passive investments in casinos, up to 5% of the casinos, where he has no control, but apart from that, he has completely departed the industry. Well, he's 81 years old, he's down in Florida, he has his art, he loves his art, he's got the money that he needs for the rest of his life, I guess, and why would he want to be in the industry anymore? So, you know, this follows these infamous sexual misconduct allegations, which he's trying to put behind him, and this now does put everything behind him. Everything is settled, and that's the end of Steve Wynn. And the only part of him left in the industry, I guess, is just history, and of course his name. His name graces Win Macau Limited, the company, Win Macau, the IR, Win Palace, the IR, and of course Win in Las Vegas, and of course there's Boston as well, although it's running with the name Encore. So yeah, goodbye to Steve Win, and you know, you cannot overestimate the influence that he has had on the industry over the years. So that's it from me. That's it here from Vanuatu. The run continues. I'm shooting this on Thursday night. Tomorrow I will be flying back to Melbourne. From Melbourne I go to Adelaide, then to Sydney actually. I'm not going to go back to Melbourne. And then to Manila, and then finally back to Macau. So have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy your time. Enjoy the novelty of the first ever on the run from a casino. And look, there's a bit of action behind us on the roulette. There's a bit of action on Texas Hold'em, and there's a baccarat table in the private room playing a little bit as well. So thank you to the Jewel Casino in Vanuatu for allowing us to film here, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Run.
That's it, we're done. How do I get a bet on?